intro for the WikiTree challenge.
That's okay. I like
it. It was at the top of the list, and our LiveCast intro is usually at the top of the list. Can I even move that up? I can. Ooh, doggy, that got me confused. Here you go, confused Saturday morning. Hey, everybody.
Hey, good
Welcome
morning.
to the WikiTree LiveCast. We've got Betsy Coe here and Sandy Paddocks standing in for Greg, who is out mathing again. You know, you drop a hat and that man maths. You don't even have to drop a hat and he maths.
No.
Betsy and I have been visiting high school graduations and school graduations this week. Sandy, have you been doing any graduations? You're so lucky. Ours was like 55 hours long, the one I went to.
I've got a big 0. Everybody I know is graduated.
Oh, okay. Well, this was our niece. We still have one more nephew to go. He's 13, I think. So it'll be 4 more years before he does. Welcome to the Saturday Morning Livecast, where we talk about everything WikiTree that we can and bring you up to date on what has been happening over the week. We had a question of the week, and Sandy's actually dressed up for the occasion. Show off your shirt.
My gear on.
Well, yeah, the question of the week this week is, do you have any racers in your family tree? Now, this just isn't about car racers, but horse jockeys, race car drivers. And this is a fun answer. Not a lot of people talked about being connected to famous racers. Mm-hmm. They were talking about the small town tracks and the small town drivers. And right off the bat, there we go. The very first comment, and I don't normally talk about the comment right off the bat, but this is from John Riddle. He's a G2G rookie. My father, Franklin D. Riddle, raced cars at the Greenville-Pekin Speedway in the early 1960s. Although he was not in this race, the raceway was home of the first televised racing event in the United States and also home of the first woman race car driver, Louise Smith. So if you didn't put that all together, this is in my home city of Greenville, South Carolina. It's actually in between Greenville and Easley. Yeah, there's a town in Greenville named Easley. Everybody goes easy there. Just saying. So I thought that was so fun that he brought that up. So I got this page up that shows all of the crazy good people who raced at that track and who won. And this is the Grand National Race Car Series that used to be run occasionally at the Pekin Speedway. So 62, 63, Richard Petty, Bobby Isaac, David Pearson, Dick Hutchison, Leroy Yarbrough. It's fun. So that's that. And then up here, there's a couple of little pictures of the Speedway. It was just a tiny little track. It started out as a dirt track, and then it got bigger. But there have been social media rumors flying around since 2023 that that track has been sold. And apparently it hasn't really been sold, but maybe it possibly could be sold. People are reaching out to people like Dale Earnhardt Jr., who rehabilitate old tracks. So we'll see. And it's located in a really good area. It's out in the middle of nowhere. There aren't any houses nearby, and I never went to that, but I certainly knew it was there. So that's a very cool thing. The other really cool thing about this week's question of the week is that a lot of people were talking about the small tracks, the small people. So I thought it was really fun. And the best answer, I've already picked it. Both my father and I were racers. Father Ian J.B. Gunn, and he has a Wikipedia page. He's primarily a research physicist who spent his life working for IBM, but then got the motorcycle bug. And guess who down here at the very bottom? Talks about his whole career. Janet Gunn started corner working in 1966 on a motorcycle, and when I was 12, and I raced myself for much less successfully than her dad from 1976 to 1981, 1990 to 1998. How cool is that?
Very
It was
cool.
cool.
You know, I didn't say good morning to everybody, like individually, but that's okay. You guys know I say good morning. 1967, turning the legal age of 21, I campaigned a 65 Sunbeam Tiger. Let's see if I have that up. Sunbeam Tiger. There it is.
Whew.
That is John Thompson's Sunbeam Tiger. Now that looks like something that Robert Redford would have been in, or Steve McQueen racing around a track in the 60s. That's pretty cool looking. Let's go on down here to the next one. And Sandy's supposed to be giving color commentary.
Well, I was just thinking the fins on that car are pretty cool. That last one you saw.
There we go. The fins.
Yeah, at the back. I mean, the whole design is pretty cool. And this is kind of racing back in the day when safety wasn't as a concern.
Yeah, that roll bar.
Yeah.
Not sure about that. Yeah. And yeah, it just looks like it has red. It does have a logo on it. It was called a Willie. It looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's cool. So let's see, where am I? I can't see my screen very well. Right here? Oh, here. There we go. That's the next one. Let's see. I was a competitive runner from Kenneth Wilson. For many, many years, competed 2 marathons, one in 2 hours, 45 minutes. I was 7th in the United States Air Force worldwide quarter mile in 1957. Ran a 32:04 10K when I was 40. Was told that was the U.S. record for my age. How about that?
That's really cool. It's cool that you got a racer of a different type. We assume car racing.
Oh, wait. Well, there's even more.
Oh, this
There's
is
even
cool.
better ones. Well, and here's Stephen Clay Wade Smith. Let's get over to his profile. He's my 4th cousin, twice removed. And it's so cool that people were talking about local heroes in the racing world. So Stephen Clay Wade Smith, he doesn't have a lot of great stuff on his profile. And I was thinking it would be a good idea to maybe go and beef up some of this stuff. Apparently, he had a logo that was well known. We got to find him. Let's see. He was a mechanic. Let's see. Mr. Horsepower. Is that it?
Mm.
Yeah, you see the logo? This is this guy's logo. He died at age 24, but his logo lives on. A cardinal. Yeah. Let's see. Going on down the road here. That was all from K. Smith. My great-grandfather, Elmer Ellsworth Brown, built harness racetrack in Eastern Ontario, raced harness race horses for others as well as himself. I have been to the harness racetrack in Eastern Ontario. And harness racing is a big deal. My mother-in-law, actually, I have a beautiful picture, but I don't want to put it up because she's very private. But there's a gorgeous picture of her harness racing here. I don't know if it was here or somewhere else, but she traveled all over doing it. But this guy, he built a racetrack in about 1895 and racing stables where he trained to race horses for other people and for himself. Traveled over much of the central United States during race season with his race horses. One of his race horses, Sleepy Tom, was quite famous in the county for winning a race after his driver had been thrown from the sulky. So the horse won anyway. So that was cool. And he has a profile. Let me see if I can bring him up. There we go. Elmer Ellsworth Brown. Look at that mustache.
I was just getting ready to say that. That's one heck of a mustache.
A pretty nice profile.
You may have mentioned this and I missed it, but why does he have 2 surnames? It says Smith, formerly Wade, or the other way around.
Oh, he was adopted, I believe.
I see.
Yeah. And Brown was, yeah. And the kid, he died in a race, the guy before, Wade Smith, died in a race in Mexico, age 24.
Yeah.
This guy has a pretty good
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty good profile, but it could probably use some TLC. Whose profile is that? Jeff Timmons. Nice profile though. Wonderful mustache. Doesn't really. I was hoping it would show some pictures of harness racing, and it wasn't something I was really familiar with, being from the States. But it's big up here. Harness racing, and it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's elegant. Just, if horse racing could be something like that. All right. So, as far as I know, only reindeer racers are from around Kalari, Finland. This is from Jonathan Pluto.
Yeah. He was on last week.
Oh, was he?
He was in the chat, yeah, because we showed either we shared a photo or celebrated an ancestor.
Where's the photo? I want to see a photo of these. And the guy that he's talking about has got a private profile. So, and I see that there's people. Can you believe this? Chris Ferriella was a runner. Woo!
Nice.
We're gonna have to call you Racy, man. That's so cool. Reindeer racing. What? This is so much fun. It was so fun to read through all of these. And look at this one. I don't even know if she's here because I didn't say good morning to anybody. June Budka. I loved building and racing dune buggies.
That's cool.
Yeah, not common for a woman to work on cars back then. I was never a girly girl. I was a tomboy from day one. Give me the smell of grease and junkyards to explore. That's great. I posted on Facebook page a photo of Dad in one of his dune buggies. I don't want to go over to that just in case. I should have had that queued up and I didn't. Sorry, June. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. Let's see. Mercedes Oglesby. And don't forget to upvote these. This is a great question of the week. Lots of fun. I myself started racing cars at 8 years old. My brother and sister did as well and still race to this day. My stepdad, their dad, raced, and here's how we got into it. My stepdad, when I was a kid, took me to a dirt oval track outside of Reidsville, North Carolina, and that was very interesting. It's amazing how crazy sharp and
banked. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And if you don't get your speed up, you kind of float down to the bottom. that was fun getting to do that. Let's see. Farmhand, involved in breaking colts for a dealer of hunters. He was an amateur jockey, racing his employers and other owners' horses in point-to-points. That's pretty cool.
It is.
Anybody know? I know that there's a genetic genealogist who has race horses. I won't say who they are, but their jockey, not their horse, won the Preakness and another race this year.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And here's some pictures. Yes, I am sort of. Richard Lapella, my brother-in-law, raced. So let me see. I think I have that one up as well. Where are you? There we go. He's got a great profile going on. Lepla lived a good long age in Ohio, and he was a racer. He even got a thing for being an Ohioan, a sticker. Anyways, great pictures of him doing some races, the new vintage cars. He's got an old vet there, it looks like. So he's got a great profile.
Love the pictures and the newspaper article.
Yeah. Fill up those profiles with good information. That's fun. I don't like the cut and paste of the article, but I think it could be reworked so that it's just bits and pieces of it. That would be great. Research notes coming up like that. And then the sources sections. So that's a nice profile too. We got, it looks like several people have worked on this and it's kind of disjointed. Might be a good profile to go and give some TLC to as well. Where are we in my list? There we go. And okay, that's good. So there was one other one, and I jumped right over it, but this was somebody else's post. Welcome to Team Georgia Astle. Georgia Astle is the newest member of the Outdoor Research Athlete Team, hailing from Whistler, BC. Georgia is a Canadian freerider mountain biker who's been on the sharp end of the sports progression for the past few decades. Now, my step brother-in-law is also a famous racer that does the mountain biking stuff. He was a road racer, and that's Todd Bowden. So that's pretty cool. And anytime I would get out my bike to go riding, he would say, "Nice ride." I hope to be back. So that is the question of the week, and thank you very much for that.
It is really great seeing the different types of racing.
Yeah.
But I got to know more about this reindeer racing.
I love how WikiTreeers always take, the prompt and then they think outside of the box. Very imaginative.
Hey, and I was not complaining. About that profile. And any of the profiles that I show on the question of the week, it's just from love. It's not when I say may need some TLC, that's what we're talking about. And no offense intended at all. And don't think you need to go out and do that right away. It's a backwards world. It's Sandy. You want to jump in and talk to us about some
racing?
Yes.
Let me bring my screen up. So everybody, who are you closest to this week for your featured connections?
I didn't check.
While I bring my screen up, I will. There you go. So I am Dick Trickle is my closest, which kind of surprised me because he is nowhere near anywhere I have ancestors. So it was going way back in time to come back again, I guess is how you say it. So Betsy, Meg, who are you closest to this week?
I'm getting ready to pull that up right now.
I am 17 degrees from Dale Earnhardt.
Ooh.
And there's only one marriage in there. So that's kind of cool.
That's close.
One marriage.
Really curious about Mags because you're closer to NASCAR country.
Yeah. Dale Earnhardt is my closest at 16 degrees. And he's my 9th cousin, twice removed. So that's my closest.
Cool. So I'm going to go through just a couple of them. I won't go through every one of them, but of course, being Appalachian, I have to mention that NASCAR started because of moonshiners. And if anybody is from Wilkes County, North Carolina, or Dawson County, Georgia, which is one county up from me, actually, moonshiners had a really big say in the start. And a moonshiner won the first NASCAR race. But why moonshiners? Because they built cars that were faster than the cops because they had to deliver the goods.
And they built cars that could hug those mountain roads too. And so those spoilers sat them down in those corners.
And they knew exactly which roads to take. So when Max was kind of talking about that, the dirt track and going up and going to the side and up on the ramps, they knew that. They were classic at that. So that was kind of a fun Appalachian tie-in that we have here. I think everybody knows Louis Chevrolet. I was just bringing him up. Chevrolet, of course, and Ford were the really early cars that were in NASCAR. But I was going to head over to Trickle. Like I said, he is my closest, but very interesting guy here as well. And let me bring his thing. If anybody would like to beef up his biography, that would be great. But the really cool thing about him, he holds the record for the most wins in history for short track racing in the United States. But he actually got Rookie of the Year at age 48. He'd been racing for years and years and years and years, and got Rookie of the Year for NASCAR's Winston Cup Series at age 48. So pretty cool guy. He is from, like I said, he's from Wisconsin. I I don't have peeps up in Wisconsin or anywhere near Wisconsin, so I'm not sure why he's my closest. And no, it
He's
doesn't.
still NASCAR, so he's got some rum running somewhere in there.
He must have it. So he's pretty cool. And then I wanted to bring up next, start with the two women that were in NASCAR. Well, this is actually started in CASCAR. This is Canadian. So Catherine is the Canadian racer driver, and she later became involved in NASCAR's Pinty series, but she kind of was one of the first female drivers in Canada and really broke it open for women to race. And this other person I'm going to mention is not on the list, but it's a different type of racing. How many of you have heard of Shirley Muldowney? Cha-Cha. She was a drag racer. And another one that kind of around the same time started to come in and open the doors for women like Catherine did into an extremely male-dominated sport. So she hails from Canada, and you can see Canada's done a really great job, and I love it. They call her the race car driving queen.
Wow.
So she was interesting to me. And then as we move over to Elizabeth is from England, and it's kind of cool. She died from England, died in Scotland, and so her father was military, and her father was really big into sports and into racing, and that's how she kind of got started into it. And then she got married, and she moved to Africa and then came back. But she was one of the earliest female rally drivers from the 1920s and the 1930s. I mean, this is just crazy to me because this is a hard time for women to get into racing at all. I would say any type of racing, not even just car racing. But she hailed from that prominent racing family with her father. And she became pretty famous over in England for being one of the women to break it open over there. And I love this picture. I just love this picture of her in this old car. And then if we move on to Juan, I'm going to say his name wrong. I know I am. Fangio, I think, is his name, how it's spelled. This guy, if you have not read his profile, I highly recommend everybody take time after the roundup and read his profile. I'm going to spend a few minutes on him. So he's more known probably for things outside of racing than racing, or at least equally. But let's get the racing part over with first. So he's from Argentina. Love the pictures that they have too. And I love the fact that this is in 2 languages. So you have his native language. And then as I scroll down, you'll see the biography in English as well. I don't know if a lot of people do that or even knew you could do that. So that was a really, really great option. But okay, so let's get into him. It's not racing. He had 2 gunmen come and kidnap him in Havana. So in 1958, 2 gunmen came in, and it was supposedly Castro kind of trying to, talk about the regime, people trying to muck with the regime. They thought they'd stop the race. If they stopped the race, then that would upset people. It would force the cancellation. It would so embarrass, Batista. And it would just be this tremendous issue, and it'd be all over the news, and Batista would not be recognized as a nice person, which is kind of interesting. But at the end, he said, well, this is just one more adventure. If what the rebels did was in good cause, then I, as an Argentine, accept it. And he was like, fine, I was treated fine. There's no problem. And you would think that would be what he was known for, but no. We're talking genealogy here, which I love. So this is relationships and children. He had a couple of affairs. So, I don't know if we really want to classify them truly as MPEs, but I think it probably could be MPEs because his body was actually exhumed by court order to test his DNA.
Oh.
So we're talking, DNA genealogy here. And because this happened later in his life, this is kind of what he was known more about than his early racing and the kidnapping. I believe only one of the two children that came forward and said that you're my daddy, I think only one was proven. But it's just shocking to me that they, actually dug him up, did the DNA testing, and then they got, proof of what happened.
What does a genetic genealogist job in what does a genetic genealogist do in Indiana? Is it Indiana? I hope I'm in the right place. What's their job title? What do? They look up to see who's your daddy.
Who's your daddy?
Betsy. Faith planted.
I'm going to use that one. That's funny.
So it's funny. So the two children were tested, but it's confirmed that definitely one is his child. I think they're still deciding about the other, but who's your daddy with a 97.5% certainty? It's pretty good, and that talks about racing in genealogy for the day. Now let's come over to Wendell Scott, another really interesting racer that was not recognized during his time. So in 1963, he became the first African-American driver to win a race in NASCAR's Premier Series. So that's a really big deal. Think about what was going on in 1963. And that's, he's putting it out there, and he's racing as an African-American. And his profile is really nice. His profile is really detailed. The USBH project really did a great job beefing up his profile. Look at all the sources. I mean, there's sources everywhere. And as we go through, the one thing that did not happen in his time is he was not recognized in his time in the Hall of Fame. So after he died, and he became inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame in 2015. That's kind of a shame. It would have been nice if they would have recognized him in time, because again, we're talking 1963. This is a pretty big deal.
Yep.
And then I hope I say this.
It's still a big deal. It's still a big deal. Yeah.
Ari Leindyke, I'm pretty sure I said that correctly. So he's interesting because we need help beefing up his CC7 as well. Now he is a living one, so you work with the Notables Project, and that's what happens when you have the notables that are living. You work with the Notables Project, and they will help you out, and they will get you started on his ancestors, so you can start building his tree from that way. A Dutch American auto racer, but he set the record for the fastest lap time in history of the Indy 500.
Wow.
He achieved an average speed, and there's not even a hope or a dream I would even come close to this, but an average speed of 237.498 miles per hour. I can't even know how fast 90 is, So 237 miles per hour. He's also participated in kart and Indy races throughout the series and winning the Indy 500 twice, which is a pretty big deal too.
It is a big deal.
And his profile is pretty good too. Yeah, it's really cool because he's known as the Flying Dutchman. And then
we have a whole team named after him, right?
Yeah, no. And then Bruce McLaren, his Formula One debut was in 1958 at the age of 21. And then the next year, he won Formula One Grand Prix race, and he became the youngest driver to win a Formula One race. I'd love to see more pictures of him as well down here as you go through. So he hails from New Zealand, but he's no much more than just a race car driver, because he was very skilled engineer and designer, and he took his love of racing into that world. So that is where he kind of settled and made his money from, is to help the racing community with his skills as engineer. I love this. I love these three. His early racing days. And then I love seeing him with the crutches. It's like, okay, why are the crutches? I hope it's not an accident. And then I wanted to spend some time on the next one. The next one is pretty special to NASCAR fans. So Dale Earnhardt Sr. A lot of times the question comes about, I don't know so much anymore, probably dating myself a bit. Where were you when Kennedy died? When you heard Kennedy was shot? Well, this is kind of what NASCAR fans go through. Where were you when you heard that Dale Sr. had died? And I remember the race. I was actually watching the race with my brother. He had a restaurant in Tennessee, and we were watching it. And I remember when Dale Sr.'s car hit the wall, and I said, my brother instantly just sat down and couldn't talk. Big fan, number one fan. And the announcer on TV had said, oh no, everybody stop talking. And I'm looking at the TV and I'm thinking, this is not a big deal. The car is not in flames. It's not all crushed. He can handle this. He's tough. He's tough. And the announcer, I want to say it was Darrell Waltrip, but I could be wrong, kept saying, this is serious, this is serious. My brother still couldn't talk. It was like 30 minutes. My brother can't talk. There's a problem, because my brother just is a talker. And then come to find out that he did not make it. But because of his death, there are a lot more driver safety built into the races and the cars. And of course, his family's a dynasty. His daughter and his son are huge parts of NASCAR as well. And to this day, you can probably go anywhere in the South or anywhere near a racetrack, and you will see a big number 3, because that's how you know it's Dale Earnhardt Sr. And I actually had to send my brother how close he was related to him, because that was just made his day. But the funny thing too is, I remember watching him race a very, very long time ago. My brother-in-law had season tickets to NASCAR, and he would travel the United States to every race. He lived in Rock Hill, South Carolina, and he'd travel the United States to see him. And my husband and I went to a race at Rockingham. And if you've ever, this was back in the day, I'm sure it's not like this now, but if you've ever been to a NASCAR race back in the day, so here's the rules. You have to stop and pick up a bucket of chicken. And I'm like, I don't understand. Let's get food there. You guys, nope, you got to stop and pick up a bucket of chicken. So here we go into the race with a bucket of chicken. Didn't know you could go in events with food, like this. So we bring a bucket of chicken, and then he has his seats all the way at the top of the grandstand. And I'm complaining. I'm like, this is not really my thing, but why can't we be closer? why can't we be a little closer? And he's like, you'll find out. Don't worry. And so it's like, okay, so we're following him. He's carrying his bucket of chicken. He has his Dale Earnhardt jersey on. He's got his NASCAR headset. Come to find out, he ignored us the whole race so he could listen to it on his headset, and everybody around us was the same. And we get up to the top. We're in grandstand seats. I've got myself, my husband, my brother-in-law, 2 big guys. Seats are this big. So Sandy got the short end of the stick. I'm like this up to my unknown neighbor. My brother-in-law, Joe, opens the chicken, says, who wants one? Who wants chicken leg? So, my husband goes, okay, the chicken leg. So they're eating the chicken. All of a sudden, my brother-in-law goes and chucks the chicken leg down the grandstand. Looks at me and goes, Sandy. I go, what? And he goes, that's why we don't sit at the bottom.
It's like being at the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
So everybody around us has buckets of chicken from your preferred chicken place. There's a couple places in the South you can get it. And all of a sudden, about 30 minutes after the race, they're eating and chicken legs are flying down there. The poor people at the bottom, so many of them did not realize that, and they were just thrilled to go to a race and couldn't understand why all the seats closer to the track were available to purchase.
Why do they do this, though?
I have no clue.
Your brother-in-law had no idea.
No, he just said that's the way it's done.
That's
And I'm like, everywhere? And he said, well, in Delaware, not so much.
It sounds like fun for the people throwing the chicken wings, not for the people down below.
I'm sitting there like, who's picking up the chicken bones? You know, and as we left, I was like, should I look under the stands? And I go, no. Under the stands.
That's crazy.
So that is my racing story. And for those of you that really love the Earnhardt family, I know it starts with Dale Sr., so a really great profile. I think, you know, knowing where he comes from North Carolina, I think we can probably beef that up a little bit. As you know, Dale Jr. and his daughter have really taken to the NASCAR with their own teams. But this is the classic photo. I mean, I even get chills looking at this. This is the classic photo of him. Yep. So for those of you that like Dale Earnhardt, there's my chicken story when I saw him race.
Everybody has to have a good chicken story. I wanted to point out that there are a lot of people involved in racing in the genealogy community, the genetic genealogy community. But one person that nobody would suspect is Janine Cloud with FTDNA. She's works with them. She has been a NASCAR and motorsports fan for over 20 years, and she is a columnist and editor for this. I'm going to zoom up real quick. Don't get sick. For what is it called? Shirts and Cuffs or Skirts and Cuffs? Everything racing. She's the editor.
That's so cool. It's a fan, and you can tell she's a fan because you can look at the quality that comes in. She loves it. That's really cool to see.
Yeah. When I said to her that I have a racing possible cousin in Gray Galding, she said, well, not anymore. It's like, what? She said, well, he has a lot of talent. But I don't think he's racing anymore. So, yeah, that's fun. That's very fun. All right. Okay. Moving on to Betsy Co.
So, Max, before you stop screen sharing, can you show us your music photo? Because it's a new month.
Let me find it real quick.
The theme for photos in June is music.
All right, so, let me grab that baby. I gotta find it. There we go.
We the three of us have photos to share, and next week hopefully we'll have some from you all.
All right, there we go.
Yay!
Guess who that is? That's a flat back Ovation. A lot of people don't know that Ovation has the big rounded back, but this particular type of Ovation has a flat back. It's a very nice guitar. Anyway, that's the last time I performed in public, I think. Yep.
Why?
Just haven't, because I'm just busy with life. All right.
Well, what was your favorite song to sing or perform?
I used to love to perform 20s blues and swing music. I used to love doing that and giving it my own spin. But I wrote my own music and recorded a couple of albums and that kind of
great.
Back in the day. And I also, my favorite place to perform was with a concert choir.
Oh,
I love singing in a choir. Yep.
What's your voice? Are you alto?
I'm mezzo.
Oh, okay. I'm an alto, which is hard. You know, it's much easier to sing the melodic part. So I always enjoy the challenge of like writing that, inner voice.
I love singing the harmonies of the mezzo. I also did, believe it or not, I actually performed a couple of operas as a mezzo, which was interesting. I have a picture of that. If I can find it, I'll dig it out.
Well, you have a whole month, and people in the chat are talking about their music tie-ins. So find those pictures.
You know,
Sandy?
and that is so cool. And people in the chat were having a lot of fun talking about what they raced. Like they raced down the hill in the derby, the soapbox derby. I used to race sticks down the street. It was really great fun going on. Go back and watch this afterwards because I was trying to post all those at the bottom. So fun.
Cool.
All right.
Neat. Sandy, you want to share yours?
No, this is mine. This is my
She has a violin.
family band. This is the Denton King and Family Band and they're all family members singing. They're let's see, how does he put it? They're known in West Virginia. He goes, and they're well known, but that doesn't make them good. But
I love the quilt background.
I was thinking the same.
I do too. And there's a county fair every year in their county, Lewis County, and they perform. It's he won't call it old timey music, but he'll call it Appalachian music. It's interesting. It's not like Barbara Allen type music. It's more contemporary, but it's always about home. It's always pretty much about home, and the kids over on the left were recently recruited. You can tell they're a little shy.
Hey, you got to grow up keep your bench deep with young ones. All right. Well, and then, all right. Are you all seeing a bunch of people wearing red?
Those aren't purple hippos.
No, they are. That was my, and this photo was on social media, so I feel so it's okay to share. This was my band at the school where I taught in, gosh, this photo, I'm looking at some of the students, and I want to say it's like 6 years ago.
Well, at least they're all adults, so even if you do share, it's okay.
Yeah.
The idea of wearing red was just a last minute thought on my part, we usually would do like concert black formal attire, and I thought, well, let's just mix it up. Everybody, I thought everybody has something red. And even one student, he had a t-shirt with a design on it that was red, and so we just turned the t-shirt inside out.
I love it.
And this ended up being like an all-time favorite band portrait.
Yes, it is.
It is. I like how it's staggered so you can see everybody.
Yep.
Right. And I really wanted to use the stairs, and that turned out to be a nice part of the picture.
A great picture.
And a drummer and a bow tie.
So, celebrating our ancestors. Moving on into June, and we have 3 people who responded, and so we'll start. The first one is from Denmark, and so WikiTree Han Henriksen has a whole series of wedding anniversaries on June 1st. So now these profiles are all in Danish, and so we can't read the stories, but they also all have wonderful photos. So here is her second great grandfather, Johannes Olesen, who married Ellen Anderson on June 1st. And this couple had 2 sons, the first of whom was Ola. And Ola also got married on June 1st. And Ola had a son, Johannes, who got married on June 1st.
Tradition.
That's right. And then the second son, Anders, he got married on June 1st. And Anders is Hans' direct ancestor. And he had a daughter whom he named Ellen, and Ellen broke tradition. Ellen got married on June 9th.
I was going to say, if you tell me the second, I'm going to be like, oh
no. So there's Ellen, and this is very cool. We have a picture of her driver's license, and then here is a picture of that means I did Google Translate. Bryllup means wedding. So we have their wedding photo.
This is the daughter who got
This is
married on the 9th.
on the 9th. Yes.
How dare you show that photo instead of all the June 1st ones?
Well, I think it's nice because there are her parents, Anna's and her mother. So
That's
lovely
fun.
photo. Yeah.
And that's an interesting picture too, because the parents aren't up there with them. They're like
Right.
standing behind.
Yeah, that's true.
Like
I thought
them
that.
over something.
Yeah. So lovely. And
Lovely.
thank you for sharing, hun. So, and then Alexis Nelson is sharing her, let's see, this is her grand aunt, Perella Lovelace Bellis, who was born June 17th, 1878. So her other connection to June is that she got married just a few days after her birthday in 1898. And we have this picture, which is also on the profile. I think we've looked at this picture before because I remember the bows. Yes, I think we looked at this one because here is Perella is the mother. And this young lady is Helen. And Alexis said that we celebrated Helen in April. So that must be why it looks familiar. Anyway, this photo is from 1911. And there we have the three daughters. And let's see, what was I have to refresh my memory on the path here. Perella and her sister Gwen were both members of the DAR, Daughters of the American Revolution, and their membership allowed Alexis to join through their connection, the Patriot, Captain Andrew Sharp. So very, very fruitful relationship there. Thank you, Alexis. And finally, we have an interesting Australian here, William Frederick Quarrel, who's being shared by Amanda Myers, who's his first cousin 3 times removed. And she wrote that he's a distant relation, but she's very proud of his military record. His connection to June he was born on June 12th, 1897 in Western Australia. So he served during World War I in the Australian Imperial Force, and he was, I think he was injured. From what I remember of what she wrote, he was injured twice during that period of service. And then he was discharged, and after that, he served in the British Army and was placed to Russia. And for his time there, he got the Distinguished Conduct Medal. And then again, after that, he went back and served in the Australian Army in World War II.
Wow.
So he's, very, very distinguished.
I was wondering when he was in Russia.
Let's see if it says here.
Go up a bit.
Yeah, yep. After being demobilized, he enlisted in the British Army for special service. Well, I don't know.
And why were they in Russia?
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting knowing that around that time frame, the Russian Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's see. It looks like he returned from that period of service in 1920. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Between 1919 and 1920.
Well, what were they doing there during that time, though? That's the other question. I had no idea.
Because this was British, right? This was the British.
Yeah. So what she says is, after being demobilized, he enlisted in the British Army for special service to the Russian Relief Force.
Oh, okay.
Okay, if that helps. Yeah.
That's cool.
And he was. She's
it's
also
interesting how you can be a part of something huge.
Yes. Yeah. and she's working on proving that he was awarded the French Croix de Guerre. So, yes. And was that? Oh, he's memorialized in the Western Australian Garden of Remembrance.
Nice.
In Netherlands. So, very nice group of ancestors to look at this morning. Thank you, Amanda. And
really, it's 10 minutes to 11. What are we going to do, guys?
I'll race you. No.
Hey, we raced ourselves to a quick finish. We're not finished yet. We're not finished quite yet.
Not yet.
We got some things coming up. David Alan Lambert, one of my favorite genealogists over at the New England Society or American Ancestors. Don't tell Melanie I said that. Yeah, David's the research is going on now for David Alan Lambert's challenge. And of course, a new connection checkers game is Auto Racers. And what's happening around the treehouse. Oh, and Ellen Thompson Jennings is coming up for the WikiTree challenge coming up. So what's happening around WikiTree June 2024? We need to go down here to June. So the weekend chat happened on Friday. Saturday sourcing sprints going on. 52 ancestors, the Data Doctors Challenge, Connection Checkers, and then the Saturday sourcing sprint, and us. They don't actually have us on that list right there, but that's okay. I've got some other stuff for us to see. We'll go over here. We've got a nice picture of David Alan Lambert. I love it when he walks around at Roots Tech sometimes in an authentic revolutionary outfit, and it's wool, and all he does is itch.
Oh,
he walks around itchy. Okay, that may be a little bit of an embellishment of that story, but it's cute. Cemetery spotlight for this week is going to be the Dry Pond Cemetery. Now, is there a dry pond? I have to go look. Dry Pond Cemetery. There's not a picture of a dry pond. Okay. I just had to check that out real quick. Dry Pond Cemetery. And the reason that we're showing you that here, because you can share these links, get WikiTree out there, and make sure you say WikiTree in your social media. You share links to WikiTree. We've had some issues with some of our SEO, which is search engine optimization here recently. So we're asking everybody to get out and spread the word about WikiTree. Go to the social media page in the Ambassadors Project and grab some of these links and share WikiTree out there on social media to get our SEO scores back up. That would be great. You can talk about the question of the week. We don't know what that question is going to be yet, but the links will be coming up for that as well. The one name study name is Pike, P-I-K-E. We've got links that you could share if you're interested in one name studies at all. The Connection Checkers game is going on, and you can link to that and look at the video. WikiTree Plus, they're going to be talking about Alesh's little addition to the WikiTree tree as it is. It helps the WikiTree tree stay healthy and good. So they're going to be talking about the WikiTree Plus program, links and information. One Place Wednesday. All right, Chris Ferriello is going to correct me on my pronunciation, but Stoughton, Massachusetts is our One Place Wednesday. The project showcase coming up this week is Military and War. And the Hollywood Walk of Fame spotlight is for the Friday spotlight.
I'm taking, if anybody wants to tell me who they want me to for showcase for Hollywood Walk of
Fame spotlight.
DM me.
Who could we find? It was just so obscure. You should do Errol Flynn.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah,
that's a good one. I'll look.
And let's see, and Joanne Woodward.
We did Paul Newman not long ago, and everybody connected to Paul through Joanne.
And you know where she's from, right? Greenville, South Carolina.
Oh no, is she really? That's cool.
her best friend lived in my neighborhood, and her best friend's husband was an architect at my dad's architectural firm. He was one of the partners at some point. And so I had the pleasure of meeting
Oh, I'm jealous.
fine people. They stopped in front of my house once to grab one of the Perillo kids to take them home. So that was fun. Played pool. So Friday night bingo.
2 bingos are back. Noon and 6 p.m.
2 bingos. So Friday night bingo.
Chris Ferraiolo has joined me for the noon one.
Woo! Chris. So that is about the weeks coming up, and then you get us again.
Yeah, we forgot something.
Yeah.
What's that?
Monday, rock reveal.
It's not there. No, it's not.
I know. We'll have to get that on there. It will be 1 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern time, 5 o'clock UTC. So, and Max got rocked.
I got rocked.
Yep.
And it was pretty spectacular. and I did not watch any of it. I stayed away. I didn't follow. But once the month was up, I said thank you to my Appalachian peeps.
Biscuits.
All right. So we didn't say hey to everybody this morning, but I do want to give Anne Fiordelici. I still can't do it. She was our first one in this morning at 9:16 a.m. And she says, hi, everyone. On this chilly morning in Cleveland, Ohio, be sure to smash the like button down there. Like us, watch us later, and enjoy your day. It's Saturday all day today, and it's a beautiful Saturday here. So I hope that you have as many plans as I do for the day, which is fiddling in the yard.
There we go.
You guys have a good week.
Bye.